One of the most important vendors you need to find for your destination wedding is your photographer. There are a few different ways to do that. In this video, I'm going to help you understand the 3 different ways to find a photographer for your destination wedding. Hi, I'm Jack with Vacationese. We've been helping people plan destination weddings for over 20 years. I post new videos every Tuesday, so feel free to hit the subscribe button here, hit the bell for notifications. This way you'll get updated when I post a new video. The majority of our destination weddings are held at a tropical beach destination resort. So most of my comments are going to be regarding hosting a wedding at one of those resorts, and a lot of our weddings are held in Mexico, the Dominican Republic, Jamaica, throughout the Caribbean, and Hawaii. So most of these comments are focused on those resorts and those destinations. Option 1, let's call this the easiest way. The easiest way is going to be to take the suggestion of the planner at the resort and work with their in-house or preferred photography vendor. Now why? Because again, this is easy. The photographers usually are based at the resort. They know the resort, they know the lighting, they know the venues, they know great places to get shots. They've done a lot of weddings at the resorts. The other nice thing in working with the in-house photographers, they're there so you can meet with them upon your arrival and walk through the shots that you want, go over the priorities. There's very much flexibility in working with them because they're there. Now, the concern people have is price. So most of the photographers at the resorts are going to have packages they're going to offer you. They will customize them. Every resort has these packages available with photography and video. But again, most of the better resorts will have photographers that'll customize and a la carte and do whatever you want. The key is, though, people have this perception that pricing is high. My answer to you is it's going to be pretty close to finding an outside photographer. But if you think it's a little high, attempt to negotiate with them. We recently had a client that liked an in-house photographer and liked an outside photographer. They gave the in-house photographer the outside's pricing and they were able to match it. One of the other reasons I like having the in-house photographer is because after your wedding, you're staying at the hotel for a couple days. You can usually meet with the photographer a couple days after the wedding and take a look at some of the rough images that they took. So before they edit them for you, you can go over and maybe meet with them and spend some time with them. Option 2 would be find a local photographer in the destination to work with. Now here's the issue. First, you have to find the local photographer that may be on the resort's approved list. Some resorts will have preferred photographers that may not be in-house, but they'll be outside, but they're still allowed to work in the resort. Other resorts are going to say, well, you can find anybody you want, provide that name and information to us, and we'll approve them. Now, sometimes we've heard from the resorts that they won't approve people because they know either do bad work or have bad business practices or may not have insurance. Now, once you do find that photographer that is outside, the issue you're going to have is something you may have heard of already called outside vendor fees. This is popping up all over the place right now for all different vendors. The resorts are going to charge outside vendors, primarily photographers, a fee of between a couple $100 to as much as $1,000. And in some cases, we're seeing them charge for multiple days. So if your photographer is going to be there for maybe a rehearsal dinner, your ceremony and reception, they may want to charge them for 2 days. So these are things that you really want to talk to your travel professional about because they'll have an idea about this from working with the resorts, and talk to the planner at the resort you're working with. Now, if you do choose to use an outside photographer, I think it's very important you look at some reviews, and then even after that, talk to the planner at the resort and get feedback from them. They know who's doing a great job in the destination they're in. And again, if the planner tells you I wouldn't work with them, I would highly suggest you don't work with them. We've had instances where clients have found outside photographers that didn't show for their wedding, that wanted full payment up front or 80% payment up front and didn't show or didn't deliver the pictures. So again, one of the benefits of working with that inside photographer or the preferred photographer is you can have confidence that if they're working with the resort, they're going to stand by what they're doing for you. Now, if you are again going to work with that outside photographer, you really need to talk to them about is there a way for you to have a meeting with them prior to your shoot? Can they get into the resort without another outside vendor fee? So these are things you're going to have to coordinate with the planner at the resort you're working with and the photographer. And again, similar to having the in-house photographer, if after your wedding you want to see some of your photos a day or two later, if you're sticking around the resort or the destination for your honeymoon, can you have that meeting with them? Or are they going to suggest what they do is email you a link in 3 or 4 weeks for you to look at? Now let's look at option 3. Option 3 sounds like it's the cheapest, and sometimes it works well. So this is when you have a photographer from home that you've fallen in love with. They're on Instagram and you want to bring them. We work with clients all year round that talk about doing this, and when you look at the costs involved, I would say half of them do it. The pricing may be great, but typically you're going to have to pay all their travel expenses, which would mean their flights as well as their stay. Now let's get over that and say, fine, I'm fine with that. The issue is I would highly suggest to you that you plan on them being there at least a day or two prior to you even getting there. Why? Again, they don't know the resort. They need to look at where the sun is, the lighting, the venues. They want to meet with the planner so they can understand what your ceremony and what your events are going to be. You want amazing shots. So it's important that they get there and look at it before you do. And then once you're there, you walk through what their suggestions are as well as your suggestions so you can get the shots of your dreams. Now the second part of working with someone you bring from home could be outside vendor fees. Now we have been successful at negotiating with the resorts and saying that this photographer we're bringing from home is a guest and they're staying as part of the room block. Most of the resorts will allow that. Some of them have actually still asked for the outside vendor fees. All of the resorts have asked for a copy of the photographer's insurance. An alternative to option 3 is you're bringing a family member who's acting as a photographer. It could be someone that's a hobby with or someone that just takes pictures a lot. You can use them. Again, I would just stress to the resort that this is not a professional photographer, so they don't harass you for asking for copies of the person's insurance paperwork. So as you can see, you have a couple different options for photography at the resorts. Some are easy, some are a little bit more complicated, but overall you have a lot of options. So hopefully this has been helpful to you. Again, I'm Jack with Vacationies. If we can be of any help helping you plan your destination wedding, feel free to contact us.